Our churches are going through a youth crisis right now, and people don't realize that it's going to get worse. As of this moment in the United States, we have heard that 4% only of the young generation believe in the biblical worldview, while in other countries it's even worse. In Korea, they say it's only 2.9% of the next generation that actually going to church. Is this going to be a common trend among our churches? There is a youth crisis. We have a generation under attack. We have a generation that has experienced much abortion, have seen a lot of crimes and violence in movies, a generation that is so distracted when it comes to focusing on their lives. I see a generation that has no moral glue in society, not knowing what is right and what is wrong. And this crisis is reaching alarming proportions in the churches today. And because of that, we feel it is time to gather the youth of the nations. Psalms 110 verse 3 says, "On the day you fight the battle, your young men will gather to you and volunteer as the dew of the morning." It means that there will be a massive mobilization of young people from all over the world if ever we're going to win this fight for the next generation. You see, the enemy is trying to take the youngest among us, inspiring our young people to do the worst of the worst. But right now, even in radical, extreme commitment to a religious view that has no regard for life, we believe that this is just the beginning of a gathering storm, that if we do not fight or reverse this youth crisis, we're going to lose the next generation. After the World Prayer Assembly, we have thought of the possibility, could we have a counterpart gathering, probably a World Youth Prayer Assembly? And after much consultation with a lot of leaders from all over the world, in 3 separate countries, we felt that this is the time, this is the right moment. Will we wait for a next concert or next political event to gather our young people? Or should the church initiate a massive mobilization of young people to come together from all regions of the world to fast and pray and believe for a reversal of this youth crisis? And so when we sought the Lord led us to South Korea. South Korea is the second largest missionary sending nation in the world. It has sent thousands of missionaries all over the world. We owe a lot to South Korea for a lot of the missions and ministries working all over the world. But in spite of that, less than 3% of their young generation is now attending church. Korea has been divided for so many decades. It is a symbol of division in the church. If we can come together as a whole generation represented from every region, and we can fast and pray and confront the Goliath of division, we believe that the young Davids of the nations of the world can slay that giant down. Would we be able to gather a representation of the next generation all in Seoul, Korea, to pray and not only reverse the youth crisis among the churches and bring back the youth to the churches in Korea, but also to pray against the spirit of division that has plagued this country for many years because of the North and South Korea border. And so we're praying that if we can do that, then something can happen. We can cast a vision to a young generation that they can change the nations. You see, I want to invite you to Korea next year, July 26 to 30, 2016, for what we would call Uprising, United Prayer Rising. If we will unite together in prayer, if we will unite as leaders and as the older generation and the young generation to come together, we will have the opportunity as we initiate the potential reversal of this youth crisis and potentially start or trigger a Jesus movement all over the world. We believe it's time. We believe the church should recapture the ability to inspire the next generation to change the world. And we believe the uprising in 2016 could become the spark. Once again, I would like to invite you to Seoul, Korea for Uprising 2016, July 26 to 30, to come together, whether you're a leader, you're a young person, a youth leader, you're a pastor, or even though you're not in the ministry, but if you have a burden for the next generation, it's time to come together and unite and bring an uprising and call forth a global movement that can reverse this crisis and start a Jesus movement all over the world.